Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Bell, you indicated the difference between the permitting time for federal land versus private land. I talk with drillers in my state of Louisiana, and they tell me that private land is typically 3 days to get a private permit, at least a year to get a federal permit, and the cost is considerably more. The paperwork, the bureaucracy is a lot more. So I certainly agree with your experience in Utah that it's a very different process there. Gentlemen, Secretary Salazar was here last year and the director of BLM, and I asked these questions point blank about hydraulic fracturing, which we all know is 50 to 60 years old. Old technology has been around, proven safe, and then of course now we have directional horizontal drilling. And to my surprise, he was very candid and honest about this. Not once has a human ever been harmed or killed as a result of the process. And there has never been documentation of groundwater contamination. Now, having said that, in my state, and I think as yours, we have state regulators. They're crawling all over the place, making sure that the process is done correctly. It's just unbelievable to me that we've got to now add a whole nother layer of regulation from the federal government for a non-problem. Don't we have many other problems, gentlemen? And Mr. Bell, I'd love to hear your comment on that.
We certainly don't want to go back to 19th century economic and ecological devastation. We don't have ground in Utah to throw away. We don't throw it away. Prime Minister Cameron said we're in the middle of nowhere. And sometimes it feels like that. We're a big state with arid areas, but we don't throw ground away. We preserve it. Production of oil on private ground and state ground is up 100% since 2008. On federal ground, 4%. That just tells the story. And we're very diligent about fracturing, and again, we've had the same experience of no contamination.
Yes, sir. And Mr. Patterson, you made the comment, and I agree with you on this, that despite what we've heard from the President and from the other side of the aisle, that in fact energy production has been down on federal lands. The President bragged about how under his administration production of conventional energy has been way up, and he's right about that, and the reason is because a part of America that he can't put the heavy boot of the federal government on its neck is the private sector, and that's where all the growth is coming from. I'd love to hear your response.
Well, yes, sir, that's correct, and I think the document that I just had an opportunity to look at, dated 7 March 2013 by the Congressional Research Service, as I laid out, enumerates that all of this production increase has been occurring on non-federal lands, while at the same time, both in oil and natural gas, there's a decrease on federal lands. And the reason for that is it's not economic. If we make it economic for industry, they will pay more, and they will do it right. But it's not necessarily for the purpose of getting to pay more. It's to produce the resource so we can continue severing our connection to foreign energy, which is important to me. I have a son who's a veteran of 4 terms. He's a Marine, 4 tours overseas duty. So we talk about this, our interest in other parts of the world, in part driven to some extent by our economic interests having to do with hydrocarbon energy. So there's more reasons to produce domestic energy than just the money.
Right. And there was a little bit of discussion, and we hear this from the other side of the aisle constantly, is, well, if a driller leases a certain amount of property, then they shouldn't have any more leases until they drill on that. But my understanding, the experts tell me that it's best to drill where the oil and gas actually is.
It pays better.
And so, if you could find out where it is first and then lease it, that would be really neat. But until we're able to do that, until we perfect that technology, I would suggest to you that there's still going to be some land out there that's leased that's never drilled on.
Exactly. Even at $1.50 an acre, that could be a ripoff for whoever paid that when they go out there and find out, oops, we just got had. There's nothing here.
Right, absolutely. Now, Mr. Powell, you made an interesting statement. You're saying that with all the drilling that's going on in certain parts of America that we're destroying habitat, and we're seeing a direct response among, I forget what you said, whether it was antelope or deer, I forget what it was. Again, the Haynesville Shale, which is arguably the largest deposit of natural gas in America, or North America actually, we have, hundreds, maybe thousands of pads out there where we've drilled, and they're very small and very limited, and we don't see any impact. And I apologize, but it looks like my time is up. I'll yield back, Mr. Chairman.
I thank the gentleman.